sounding like a slow cycling automatic weapon. The noise caused her to jump and stop walking. I pointed at my rounds. That's where you need to be. I'm impressed with your shooting, I really am. But you need to get better, much, much better, if you want to pass A&S. She crossed her arms on her chest, staring at me without a word. I blinked first, glancing down from her gaze and fiddling with the Springfield 1911 in my hand. She said, "I'm not so sure I want to do that anyway, if it means working with jackasses like you." I whipped my head up at that comment, shocked it had come out of her mouth. Jennifer was the type of person who never said a cross word about anyone, ever, even when they deserved it. Waitress treat you like a mushroom? Probably because she's preoccupied with her special needs child at home. Driver cut you off? Maybe because he's rushing his pregnant wife to the hospital. She'd snapped at me before, but had never called me names. The fact that she had now meant I'd finally crossed a line, entering a no-man's land way, way south of the friend zone. The thought scared the hell out of me. She had a tiny smirk on her face, and I felt the relief like a reserve parachute blossoming above my head. She had seen the fear, and that had been worth more than the apology. She said, "You know, it takes more than fancy shooting." I grinned and said, "What does?" "Impressing me." I holstered the pistol and said, "Impressing you isn't the issue. You need to impress the Taskforce, and that's going to be a very tough thing to do." Once upon a time, I'd been a true blue counterterrorist commando in an organization so secret it didn't have an official name. A unit that made us feel like we were barrel-chested freedom fighters keeping America safe from the bad men stalking the earth. Most probably still felt that way. I knew better. I'd had a run-in with destiny, a horrific event involving my family, and it had crushed me. I had been well on my way to self-imposed suicide, death by cop or anyone else with a gun, when I'd crossed paths with Jennifer. She'd pulled me out of the abyss, scabbing over the loss of my wife and child without even meaning to. In return for that favor, I was trying to convince the command of my old unit to allow her to try out, without even telling her initially. It was selfish of me, I understood that. I wanted back into the Taskforce embrace, but I didn't want to lose Jennifer. We'd found the temple in Guatemala, and I'd convinced Jennifer to start a company with the proceeds. She could finish her degree in anthropology, and I could start kicking terrorist ass around the world with my new cover company. A dream world, like the ending of the movie True Lies. Well, maybe not that good, but the company was pretty close. Ostensibly designed to help anyone who wanted to conduct archaeological work around the world, we were a one-stop shop for old shit. We could schmooze host country governments for the overall effort or provide security for an individual dig, all the while helping the United States preempt terrorist actions in denied areas. Perfect cover in my mind, but less than perfect in others, especially when Jennifer was brought into the mix. Kurt Hale, the commander of the task force, had tentatively agreed to allow us to start the company, and we even had a name, Grolier Recovery Services. But I had more in mind. I wanted to operate like I had in the past, and I wanted Jennifer to do the same, which was unorthodox, to say the least. After all, she was a civilian, and a female. Jennifer walked back to the shooting line, sizing me up, basically shutting me down. She said, "I could give a flip what the task force thinks about me. I am who I am, take it or leave it." Here we go. The task force was a he-man, woman-hating organization like no other. You hear about Wall Street in the 80s, or NFL football teams, but none held a candle to a bunch of operators who'd spent their lives in a Darwinian arena, where getting to the top of a career field didn't mean risking bankruptcy or free agency, but death. There was no comparison. We were the perfect gentlemen with our families, but definitely Neanderthal in our perceptions of the fairer sex when it came to the job. Getting Jennifer into assessment and selection was a hurdle in and of itself. Getting her through it would be damn near impossible. I knew this because I would have been the first person who would have cut the legs out from underneath her. Before she'd saved my life, that is. I said, "Jennifer, I know I'm walking on thin ice, but please understand."